Hello everybody, Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you another deck on Pokemon TCGO, and today I am finally diving into the State Championship decks that have been being played, and this is one of the cooler ones that I found. It is centered around Raichu and Bats. That is a Sacred Ash. That is not a Raichu. That's a Raichu. But anyway, before I get into this deck, just a reminder that if you like this video or found it helpful, please leave a like, drop a comment, and maybe subscribe. It helps us out a ton and lets us do more. And if you have suggestions for decks that you want to see me run, please leave it in the comment section below, and I would love to hear your comments and get to those decks as soon as possible. But anyway, like I said, this deck was piloted by Jed Andrusik. I think that's how you say it, not sure. Probably butchered it, oh well. But this is a really cool one because, I mean, Raichu really hasn't seen much love apart from like a Mega Rayquaza deck. Because, I mean, while it is very nice with the Circle Circuit, 20 times the number of your benched Pokemon, and combine that with Skyfield, you can hit for 160. It really just doesn't hit that incredibly hard, so you do need a lot of support in order to make it do well. However, Jed was able to pilot this deck to a state championship, so that is great, and it's something really cool that I wanted to try out for myself. And anyway, on to the Pokemon. We are running 3 Shaman for the setup ability just to draw some more cards. We will be running Skyfield a lot, so playing all 3 Shaman is not necessarily a bad idea. Just, I mean, you want to draw as many Pokemon as possible. Running a 4-4 line of Pikachu and Raichu, because main attacker, you want to run as many of them as possible, etc., etc. And then we are running a 4-3-2 line of Bats, just for that little extra damage that Raichu will need to knock out some EXs. I mean, things like Yveltal EX and Lugia EX are weak to electric, so you don't always need the Bats' help. But, I mean, Bats are never a bad thing. And this is actually a kind of curious line. I usually like to run as many Golbat as Zubat, just because if I'm going to get 4 Zubat out, I want to be able to at least get some extra damage with Golbat. However, Jed decided that he would just run a 4-3-2. I guess Zubat would really be more for powering up Raichu than anything, so he only ran a 3-2 of the other Bats. And then finally he is running a 2-1 of Feebas and Milotic with the Sparkling Ripples. When you play this from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may put a card from your discard pile to your hand, so that is great for recovering the DCEs that are oh so valuable in this deck. 'Cause, I mean, that is kind of, well, it's not kind of the only energy, it is the only energy, so sometimes you need to dig a little bit, and if you have to discard one with a Sycamore, then that is absolutely brutal, so you will want to run Milotic in order to recover those. And also, I mean, hey, Feebas takes up a bench spot and is a really, really nice tech card, so it's just all of these guys just support Raichu in its attacking, and also it's a non-EX attacker that can hit for a ton of damage, so that is absolutely huge. As for the items, we are running not a Shaman. We are running 2 Level Ball just to get everything out. I mean, everything except for Shaman, Crobat, and Milotic are level ballable. So, I mean, that's just a really quick way to grab one of them and pull them out. We are running 4 Puzzle of Time. Again, if you discard DCEs, those things are so precious, and Puzzle of Time allows you to be able to recover those back from your discard pile if you have to discard them. And also, if you only have one, I mean, it's always a nice thing to play at the end of the turn. Just look at the top 3 cards of your deck and decide, which one do I want to draw next turn? So it's really nice for the consistency of this deck. We are also running 1 Sacred Ash, because our Pokemon will die. That is just kind of inevitable. And because we are not running any basic energy in this deck, we have no reason to run Super Rod, so we might as well run Sacred Ash to get everything back. We are only running 1 Milotic and a kind of low line of Bats, so all of these guys are very, very precious. And oh, by the way, Raichu is also very precious too, because it can get knocked out really easily, so having Sacred Ash just allows us to put 5 of those guys back in our deck. 1 Startling Megaphone, particularly with Fighting Fury Belt everywhere. This is great to knock off the Fighting Fury Belt or a Focus Sash or whatever our opponent has. Even with Night March, just Startling Megaphone, get that Fighting Fury Belt off of the Joltik and then proceed to knock it out by playing down a Crobat. So Startling Megaphone is phenomenal. And also you get multiple uses of this guy thanks to Puzzle of Time if you play that correctly. Running 3 Trainer's Mail, honestly, I have becoming more and more, I guess, accustomed to using Trainer's Mail. I really like it. I didn't like it at first because it was so variable, but it allows you to look at the top 4 cards of your deck and pick a trainer card. That helps with consistency so incredibly much, and that is obviously not lost on Jed, as he is running 3 of those. 4 Ultra Ball just to guaranteed get whatever we want. 4 VS Seeker to reuse all of our supporters. 1 AZ to bring up a Shaman, bring up a line of bats. I mean, really whatever you want to use AZ for, and it's just a great card to have in general. Also 4 Feebas and Milotic if you want to get Milotic's ability again. We have 4 Pokemon in this deck that have the ability, well, that have an ability that is contingent upon you playing it down, so being able to AZ it up and then use it again next turn is just a great thing to have. Running 2 Bridget, kind of a higher line of Bridget because, I mean, everything you want to get out is a basic Pokemon bar Shaman, so Bridget just lets you fill up your bench very quickly. 1 Hexmaniac to shut down, I believe this is mainly Aegislash, because Aegislash would stop this deck cold. Hexmaniac completely shuts that down and lets you hit it with the Raichu. Running 1 Lysander as well, because, I mean, Lysander is great, and Lysander is great, and Lysander is great. I mean, Lysander's just a card that fits in every single deck. I mean, even decks like Greninja that can snipe on the bench run Lysander, so there's zero reason not to run it. Running 4 Sycamore just for the guaranteed draw. With things like Puzzle of Time and Sacred Ash, you don't necessarily care about discarding a lot of stuff. I mean, you care, but not as much as you would in other decks. So Sycamore is just, oh hey, I just want a new hand, just discard it all, bring it all back. 4 Skyfield, want to run the absolute max number of these as possible because Raichu's attack is completely contingent upon getting a lot of Pokemon on your bench, and filling up your bench allows Raichu to hit for 160, slap a Muscle Band on there, you're hitting for 180, and then, or, well, not necessarily Muscle Band, but you can also use bats and stuff like that to help get the magic 180 or 170 that you need to knock out EXs and some of the bigger Pokemon. And then finally, we're running 4 DCEs just for Raichu. You really only want to attach this to Raichu. The only other situation I can see you using this for is maybe on a Shaman if you want to Sky Return to be able to draw again if you're at a dead draw or something like that. So, I mean, only for Raichu. Sometimes you need to dig a little bit. I have had turns where I actually did not find a DCE, so I had to retreat into something else. Oh, and I forgot to add, Raichu and Golbat Crobat also have free retreat, so that is just another great quality of this deck. But anyway, I'm done rambling. Let's just go ahead and see this deck in action. Alrighty, we have found one against Dota rules that looks like it's a Night March deck, so this is going to be so much fun. We're going to call the coin flip. We do lose the coin flip, and whatever our opponent does will determine probably what type of deck this is. If they let us go first, then that means it is more than, actually it pretty much confirms that it's Night March. If they go first, then you know what, I mean, it still could be Night March, but who knows? Our opponent does decide to go first. Okay, so that doesn't give us any information. We are going to start with 2 Pikachu, which, I mean, I guess isn't the worst thing in the world. We can nuzzle if we absolutely need to, but what I think I'm gonna do is, yep, okay, this is 1,000,000,000% Night March, so hopefully I can get a nuzzle first turn and paralyze the opponent's Joltik or Pumpkaboo or whatever they put out. And I do have to be careful about Shaman in this match because, I mean, Shaman is a Lysander target waiting to happen. So we'll see how this does. I'm thinking, well, I'm not thinking, I know the bats will be absolutely incredible in this match, so I want to get as many of them out as possible. And I also want Startling Megaphone, because that will allow me to knock out the stupid little Joltiks or whatever with just evolving a Crobat. And, oh, Quick Attack actually has the ability to knock out a Joltik if I flip heads. That's kind of cool. So I would like to draw a card. It is a Sacred Ash. Ugh, I don't want to see that just yet. Our opponent starts with a Pumpkaboo. That's just fine. I'm hoping my opponent tries to play Dimension Valley first turn. That way I can discard it. But if not, it's not the biggest deal in the world. I'm kind of hoping for an Ultra Ball or something like that. That way I can discard the Shaman and the Raichu and then get rid of... oh, and then put them back with Sacred Ash. That way I can get some use out of Sacred Ash, because I don't want to just discard it, because that is so valuable in this deck. And the Joltik does come down. I'm hoping that we don't see the Fighting Fury Belt just yet. Probably going to Ultra Ball for a Shaman at this point, but this level ball is 1,000,000% going for a Zubat, and then I'm going to Shaman, and okay, yep, my opponent does get a Shaman as well, so he will be able to draw through his deck a little bit more. Hopefully he doesn't get much this first turn, that would be really nice. And okay, so this looks to be a Bronzong Night March variant, which is really good for those times where your opponent is able to shut down your special energy, whether through Giratina or Aegislash or something like that. And we do see the Muscle Band onto the Joltik, so that means we will actually be able to knock it out with a Crobat because he will not be able to attach a Fighting Fury Belt to it. So that is great for us. My opponent plays down a Shaman, meaning that that will be a Lysander target for our Raichu or something like that. And I don't see a Dimension Valley from my opponent, so that is actually pretty cool. So let's go ahead and Level Ball for a Zubat. I will actually be Shamaning for 1, which is not the greatest. Yeah, let's go ahead and Shaman for 1. It's another Raichu. Oh, that is brutal. So what I am going to do is I have to Sycamore away a Shaman, 2 Raichu, and a Sacred Ash. So that is horrible. But what I can do is go ahead and play another Zubat down. And then what I can also do is play this onto the Pikachu, I think I will play another Zubat down this turn, and then I will Startling Megaphone next turn. I think I'm just going to leave Pikachu to take the hit for me this turn. I will save the Puzzles of Time for next turn when I can grab like a Raichu and a Sycamore or a Sacred Ash or something like that. So I'll just end the turn right there. I could have gone for a Nuzzle, but I didn't think that that was the best option at this point. My opponent has to have... What all does he have to have? Okay, so he has to have a Dimension Valley and I think one more Night Marcher in order to be able to knock me out, which I mean is very, very easy to do, and like I wouldn't be able to do sufficient damage to the Pumpkaboo. I didn't want to risk my DCE on just a coin flip, so I didn't think it was worth it at that point. Plus, I have so many Zubats down that I will more than likely be able to knock out this Joltik somewhere soon along the line. My opponent actually just has to Night March for 20. That is phenomenal for us. Oh my goodness. And so what I am going to do is go ahead and attach the DCE to the Pikachu, go for a Puzzle of Time, play 2 of those to grab a Raichu and a Sycamore. Or do I want to grab a Puzzle, or do I want to grab a Sacred Ash and a Sycamore? I think I want the guarantee this turn. So I'm going to go for a Raichu and a Sycamore. Let's go ahead and play this down onto the Pikachu. Go ahead and go for the Startling Megaphone, and then Sycamore away the Ultra Ball, which is a little bit painful to do, but it is not the worst thing in the world. Let's go ahead and Skyfield. We can then Ultra Ball away the Muscle Band. I don't need it, and the Hex Maniac to grab a Golbat. Okay, I do have... Okay, all of my bats are in my deck, so that is great. What I'm going to go ahead and do is play the Golbat down, knock out, get some damage onto the Joltik, go for another Shaman, hopefully get another bat of some sort. I get an AZ, which doesn't work that well, but I do get a Crobat for next turn, which actually means I can AZ up the Golbat. But anyway, I will just get a knockout on the Pumpkaboo this turn, take a prize, see what else I can get, and we're in a pretty solid position at this point, actually. Even if my opponent gets rid of the Skyfield, I do have another Skyfield in my hand, and my opponent decides to promote the Joltik, so I think I will be able to get... Actually, I'm pretty positive I'll be able to get 2 knockouts next turn, because I will be able to play the Golbat down, knock out this Jolt. Actually, I might be able to take 3 prizes. Oh my. That's actually really, really great, because I can play the Crobat down there, knock out this Joltik. Ooh, we're about to get cheeky. Let's go ahead and Crobat, knock out this Joltik, take a prize right here. That is a Bridget, and then let's go ahead and AZ up the Crobat to then play the Zubat back down, play the Golbat down, knock out this Joltik, and take another prize off of that, and get another Zubat. We don't need it. I think, well, I mean, I'm obviously going to Trainer's Mail this turn, and my opponent has to promote. Okay, my opponent just doesn't promote anything because we just won. So, I mean, the bats are phenomenal against Night March and in the Night March matchup, so that is absolutely great for us. I mean, Crobat was able to basically just win me the game on his own. I was about to take a 3-prize turn, which against Night March, I mean, they rely on the fact that you have to do a 1-prize turn more often than not. So being able to take multiple prizes a turn against Night March is huge. And let's just go ahead to try to find another one with this deck. Alrighty, we have found another one against Zamtastic. I would assume that's how you say it, or it's Examtastic, but I mean, there's nothing fantastic about exams, so I'm gonna just assume that it's Zamtastic with a Dark and Psychic deck, so I'm assuming that this is a Darkrai Hypno deck, or at least that's what I would think, simply based on the typing of his deck, but we will definitely see. Raichu, this one could be kind of a tough one for Raichu because Darkrai is not weak to Electric, and we do lose the coin flip, which is even worse, unless I can somehow like nuzzle first turn. But I don't think I necessarily want to do that just because, I mean, that's not guaranteed damage, and that's risking a DCE unnecessarily. So, okay, I get something kind of that I can work with-ish. I get a Zubat, which is probably the most expendable basic because, I mean, I've run 4 Zubats, and there is not always a Crobat for it, so, boy. Oh, this is Inkay Mewtwo? What? I don't know, but I'm going to go ahead and roll with it. I'm going to go ahead and play a Skyfield, go ahead and bridge it, get a Pikachu, Zubat, Pikachu. Is that the play it'll make? Yeah, I think that's the play to make. And then I can just Sycamore next turn, and then let's just end the turn right there. Golbat does have Free Treat, so if I can somehow get this Zubat evolved next turn, I will be in a solid position. Wait, what? This is in Phantom... what? I'm not sure what this is, but anyway, we're just rolling with it. We get a Feebas, that is just fine. Let's go ahead and Sycamore, get some more cards. We do get a Golbat and a Raichu, so let's go ahead and play that down. I'm going to target that darn Phantom, or you know what? No, I'm going to target the Mewtwo for the time being. Let's go ahead and play down a Raichu, put a DCE on the Raichu, Ultra Ball away the Skyfield and the VS Seeker for a Shaman. Go ahead and play the Shaman down, get some more cards, hopefully get another Golbat or a Zubat or something else. Let's go ahead and retreat into the Raichu, play the Zubat down, play the Pikachu down, and I think I'll go ahead and level ball for another Golbat. This way, now I can get some damage onto the Phantom to be able to knock it out next turn with a Crobat, and then we are just going to go ahead and Circle Circuit, take a prize, and be in a phenomenal position. So this deck is incredibly consistent. I love using it because, I mean, like I said, it's consistent. It catches people off guard. People see that, like, oh, you're just using like a Raichu and stuff like that, and they don't think that it's very good. Oh, we see a Crushing Hammer, gets heads. It's not the biggest deal in the world because I will more than likely, darn it, Trevenant is up. So that's a bit unfortunate for us. My opponent will be able to Shatter Shot this turn, and we will go from there. What I think I'm going to start doing is go for a Crobat and get some damage. I think, do I want to get some more damage on the Mewtwo? Yes, just so I can get a guaranteed knockout on it this turn. Go ahead and Ultra Ball away the Sacred Ash and the Trainer's Mail to grab a... do I want to grab a Milotic or another Raichu? I think I'm going to grab a Milotic just to guaranteed get that DCE this turn. Go ahead and play this down. Yes, I would like to grab a DCE from my discard pile, play it onto... I think I'm just going to go ahead and play it onto this Raichu because I still have 4 more DCE in my deck. And then let's just go ahead and Sycamore to get a fresh hand. And I think at this point I will actually start using the rest of my... Let's go ahead and Trainer's Mail first, grab the Bridget. I want to maximize my chances of getting a DCE when I need it next turn. Let's go ahead and play that down, play a Crobat down, get some more damage, I think, on the Trevenant, just because I do not like Trevenant. Let's go ahead and I think Shaman for 2. Get 2 more cards. Hopefully, okay, one of them's a Skyfield, and then next turn I'm going to go ahead and Puzzle of Time, get the DCE up front, and now we are in a great position because we will be able to knock out whatever comes in next turn, and Raichu hits for a whopping 160 damage. So we're in a great position at this point. We even get 2 Puzzles of Time, which means we will be able to grab whatever we want out of our discard pile next turn. I mean, assuming the Trevenant does not become active. So we are in a great position at this point. And oh, my opponent even decides to get rid of that. We do get another DCE. Didn't see that coming. I'm going to go ahead and Puzzle of Time, play 2 of those, grab the other DCE, and I think I'm going to grab... What else do I want? I think I'm going to grab... Do I want another Puzzle of Time? Nah, I don't think I do. Let's grab probably a... Probably a Trainer's Mail. Just see what else we can grab. And then I do have able to play that onto the... you know what? I'm going to play it on this Raichu, go ahead and retreat, go for the Trainer's Mail, see if I can get like an AZ or something like that. I get a Hex Maniac, which actually can work. And actually instead I'm going to go ahead and grab an Ultra Ball. Go ahead and Ultra Ball away the Skyfield and the other Shaman. I don't need it. To grab, I think, the Golbat, put some more damage onto the Trevenant on the bench. That way, if I can, like, I don't know. I don't even know what I was thinking, but, I mean, this Shaman's going down anyway, so let's just knock it out with a Circle Circuit for a whopping 320 damage. And now we are 1 prize away, and wow, this deck is awesome. This deck is really cool. I love using it. We do see another Team Flare Grunt, and what's funny is my opponent has used a Crushing Hammer and a Team Flare Grunt, and we have literally only gone through 1 DCE. We're about to use our second one of the entire game, Circle Circuit, for the win, and that is the power of Raichu, kids. And oh, there's our Muscle Man. Not that it really mattered because our bats were able to do most of the damage anyway, just setting up all those knockouts that we needed. So, Jed, congratulations on being able to win states with this deck, or place highly. I don't know necessarily if you won. It was just listed as one of the top decks. I'm pretty sure it won because it was listed, but this is a really cool deck with a pretty unconventional idea and combining old with new for something that was very effective, very consistent, and very powerful. So thank you guys for watching the video. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that stuff. And this is Styx signing out. Why not? See you guys.